As weekend warriors, our camping trips usually involve just making one campground reservation. But I think that we should all make multiple campground reservations for our longer camping trips. Because I found that each campground stay is like another vacation. It's like having several mini vacations in just one camping trip. Welcome back, weekend warriors, or if you're new here, I'm Randy. And every Thursday, I help you make big memories in small campers because weekends are just too short, or in this case, a week or two. I just made an 11-day camping trip at 4 different campgrounds. But I did have some obstacles along the way, and I'm going to show you what happened. But first, I want to share 9 tips to help you make multiple campground reservations for your next extended camping trip. Tip number 1, know the general area that you want to make campground reservations at. Base the distance away from home on the amount of time you have. For example, if you had 1 week, you wouldn't want to choose an area that would take you 2 travel days to get there, because 4 of your 7 days would be travel days. If you had 2 weeks, then 2 days of travel each way might be worth it, because you'd have 10 full days of camping. So think about the amount of time you have and the amount of travel time it'll take you to get to your destination. Tip number 2, use a good campground finder that will show you a variety of campground types. This will save you a lot of time and frustrations when you're looking for campgrounds to make your reservations at. I'll show you which one I use coming up. Tip number 3, be clear on the type of campgrounds that you prefer. I love state parks, and when I first got my Little Guy Max trailer, this was the only type of campground that I camped at. But over the past 2 years, I ventured out and I found some city and county campground gems, along with some great national forest campgrounds. Expanding types of campgrounds will expand your options. Tip number 4, do you require hookups or not? This will help you determine the type of campgrounds that are going to best fit your RV camping needs. Although many types of campgrounds like state parks offer campsites with hookups and campsites without hookups. But if you don't want to camp without hookups, you probably wouldn't want to make a reservation at a national forest campground. Tip number 5, know your travel time limits. Similar to choosing the distance away from home based on the amount of time you have, you also need to consider how long you're willing to travel in one day. Some people don't want to travel more than 3 or 4 hours a day, while some are comfortable going 6 or 8 hours. And when calculating travel time, be sure to include fuel stops and potty stops for both you and your pets if you have pets. If Google Maps tells me that it's going to take me 4 hours to get somewhere, I know that it's actually going to take me 5 hours. Tip number 6, know approximately how many days that you want to spend at each campground. There are 2 big factors to consider. 1, how hard is it to pack up and move? The longer it takes you, the fewer campground moves you're going to want to make. It takes my husband and me about 30 minutes to get ready to move. This is one of the advantages of owning a small camper. So on these longer getaways, I don't like to stay at a campground usually longer than 3 or 4 days. Usually this is enough time for me to explore the area and hike the trails that I want to. Then I'm ready to move on to another nearby area. Secondly, how much is there to see and do at the campground or close by? You don't want to leave a campground if you feel like you've not had enough time to see and do everything that you want. Right, Princey? Tip number 7, make campground reservations in the same general vicinity to minimize your travel time, especially if you have just 1 to 2 weeks. But this is where it gets fun. It's amazing the different experiences that you'll have just 30 minutes or an hour away. It can be like a whole new world and another vacation. I like to make campground reservations that aren't more than an hour or 2 away from each other. This way we're not rushed in the morning to leave, but we have enough time to get to our next campground early enough in the day to begin our next mini vacation. Also, be sure to know check-in and check-out times. If a campground check-in time is not until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll probably arrive earlier than check-in time, and we may have to wait for someone to leave, although this rarely has happened. Just be aware that you might have to wait if you arrive before check-in time, or just leave your campsite later so you don't find yourself waiting. Tip number 8, plan your route. You want to be strategic when making campground reservations to minimize your travel time. Coming up, I'm going to share with you how I made my 4 campground reservations for my upcoming trip and some of the obstacles I faced. But first, I have one more tip for you. Tip number 9. Plan as far in advance as you can. Campgrounds are filling up fast, so time is on your side. I don't like to make multiple campground reservations just because I can. I do this because I want to camp at campgrounds that I'm excited about. And the further away you make your campground reservations, the more apt you are to find the best campgrounds. A couple of times a year, I get to go on longer camping trips, longer than just a weekend, and these are the times that I really look forward to. Because when we have more time, we can camp further away from home and explore unknown areas. Truth be told, on these longer RV camping trips, I've gotten kind of picky about the campgrounds and campsites I make my reservations at. Because this time is so valuable to me, and I wonder if you feel the same. Because I was planning my upcoming camping trip in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which of course is in the vicinity of both Lake Michigan and Lake Superior, I want waterfront camping. And I was skeptical if I could find multiple waterfront campgrounds in such a relatively short period of time. I should mention that I made these campground reservations just 30 days in advance, and I had another obstacle. Part of this camping trip is over the Memorial Day weekend, so yikes, this might further limit me to finding these great campgrounds. Before I show you what happened, if you found this video helpful, let me know by liking this video. Your feedback means the world to me. I began planning this camping trip by using the AllStays app, which is my favorite campground finder app. As I mentioned, I want to go to the UP, and I've already camped in this area and this area, so I want to explore this area next. The app allows me to filter by types of campgrounds, so I selected the ones I was looking for. I zoomed into the area I was most interested in, and then when you click on a campground icon, you get more information about that campground. One of the first campgrounds I clicked on was the Bayview National Forest Campground. One of the features I really like about using the AllStays app is you can view images of the campground. Oh, look at that Lake Superior shoreline. I also prefer more remote campsites, and these look fantastic. I was really excited about this campground, so I clicked on the website icon to get more information, and then I saw this. Oh no, the area status says closed. Scrolling down a little, I also read this. Camp along the shores of Lake Superior, by the shores of the Gitche Gummy, by the shining Big Sea waters, the greatest single body of fresh water in the world. Miles of sandy beach and beautiful sunsets along Lake Superior are yours to enjoy at Bayview Campground. Despite it saying the area was closed, after reading this campground description, I decided to click on View Available Campsites or make a reservation for Bayview Campground anyways. I was taken to the campground reservation website on recreation.gov and clicked on Select Dates. My camping trip is from May 20th through the 31st. The availability calendar is telling me May 20th and May 21st are on a first-come, first-served basis. But look, there are reservable campsites available on my other days. So I selected the first available date, May 22nd through the 26th. There were just 2 reservable campsites during these dates, so I immediately made a campground reservation for these 4 nights. I found some fantastic first-come, first-served campsites before, but I didn't want to stress about finding an available campsite when I only had 11 days. Plus, I knew that cell coverage would be spotty, so it would be tough to check in and see what campgrounds and campsites were still available. I love the location of the Bayview Campground because we would be just 1 hour away from the Tequanimon Falls and just 30 minutes away from the Sault Ste. Marie area, 2 areas I really want to visit. 4 nights of camping reservations have been made, and I've got 7 more to go. But will I be able to find more nearby lakefront campsites? While I was on the Bayview Campground page on recreation.gov, they list nearby campgrounds, so I checked these out. And one of these was Lake Michigan at St. Ignace. I mapped the distance from this campground from the Bayview Campground, and it was just 1 hour away. This campground is located on the shores of Lake Michigan, and this would definitely be a great camping spot for a few days. We are leaving the Bayview campground on the 26th, so I was looking for an open campsite on that day. There were several available for the 26th and the 27th, which would be great for 2 nights. But when I made this reservation, there was one campsite open for 3 nights, and that was at campsite number 20. So I made my campground reservations for 3 nights at Lake Michigan at St. Ignace. Woohoo! 2 lakefront camping reservations have been made. But then I realized I still have the toughest time slot to fill and make a reservation for, and that's over the Memorial Day weekend. I went back to the AllStays app to begin my search. Lake Michigan at St. Ignace is located here, and I live here. So I wanted to start heading west to find a campground that would bring me closer to home. I looked at a lot of campgrounds along the shores of Lake Michigan. Some didn't appeal to me, some were booked, and some did not take reservations. Then I found Little Bay Denock. These look like gorgeous, secluded campgrounds on Lake Michigan, and there was just one available for the Memorial Day weekend. But when I tried to book 2 nights, I got this message. The minimum length of stay for a holiday weekend is 3 nights. Oh, even though we would only be able to stay 2 nights, and because the next day would be a 370-mile drive home, I decided to make the reservation for 3 nights. And this ended up costing me an extra $30. But for peace of mind and considering my last-minute attempt to find a great campsite over the Memorial Day weekend, I was pretty happy with this. Now, I just had 2 more days to make campground reservations to complete my 11-day camping trip. Could I possibly find a 4th lakefront campground? I went back to the AllStays app to find out. These would be my first 2 camping nights, and I live here, and my next campground reservation is here at Bayview Campground. So I wanted to find a campground along the route to this campground on Lake Superior that would offer a different experience. I had seen a YouTube video about the 12-mile beach campground, which is located in Lake Superior's shoreline, and these are gorgeous lakefront campsites. Unfortunately, there wasn't a campsite available on the days I needed to make a reservation for. But using the AllStays app, I discovered the Hurricane River Campground, which was located just 4.5 miles away. I felt really fortunate there was a campground available, so I made a campground reservation here. The AllStays app is my #1 go-to app to find campgrounds. It has built-in functionality and filters that makes finding the best campgrounds easier. I did a video that shows you exactly how to use this app, and I'll leave a link to that video right up here and in the video description below. So I'll see you over in that video next.